I'm delighted this week for the Work4Labs blog to be running a small session. I'm over in Dallas in Texas, and I'm preparing for TNL, which is Craig Fisher's event. TNL is a great event. You can still get tickets for it Friday if you want to come along. But we're just going to talk to you for a few minutes. It's a good opportunity, as I've got Craig here, to talk about timeline and what timeline is going to mean to brands. So, Craig, timeline. Tell us about it. Tell us what your thoughts are.
Well, so we've all seen timeline on Facebook now. We all know what it looks like, and we all know.
This is at Fish Dogs.
Fish Dogs. That's me, Craig Fisher. Hi, fishdogs.com. If you've seen timeline, you know that timeline has a premium on things like graphics, and it's got a cool layout, and it's got some things right across the top where you can add likes and favorites and things like that your audience will see. It will not allow you to refer directly to a home page or a subscriber page in your top graphic, but you can refer to something like that in the things that you like, and you can like apps that are, for instance, subscriber pages.
You can like apps, and you can also include apps. I think there's a few differences for me in terms of how timeline is going to be for brands. One is you need to be an engaged brand. Your content is going to be top, but people are going to be looking at comments and likes and so on. They're doing away with the whole like gate, which is where you had to like a page to get hold of content. I always hated that. I always said if I like something, I'll like it.
Right.
If you put a gate in the way, I'm not going to bother opening it. And I've always been of that philosophy. I think the most important thing for me in terms of recruiting is that the top two apps which are used on the page are going to be featured. You can feature two apps at the top of your page on display, as well as all the other apps that are attached. So if you've got your job list, you can, if you're using one of the applications for sharing job content and so on, and for applying for jobs, you can actually feature that on the top. I think the other point is that historically, anyone going to a Facebook page by mobile, and that's about 55% of the people using Facebook at the moment will be reading Facebook by mobile, haven't been able to see applications in the old designer page, and they will be able to in the new one. Now, I know the application has been getting fantastic responses in terms of numbers, and that's been to 55% of the audience, but it's open to 100% of the audience by mobile. I think it's going to make some major difference.
It is, and the thing that you notice most on mobile is, honestly, it's graphic layout, and so what you're going to see is more of what we're sort of growing towards on mobile and online anyway, is the sort of Pinterest, Instagram type of social engagement. So if you have an opportunity to have good graphic design, and you can create your own infographics that tell your story and lead people to your jobs and things like that are pinnable and Instagrammable and repeatable and likable, you're going to have a better story to tell on your graphic.
Getting all that kind of stuff and using that strategy where you're mixing apps, I think is going to work well. But it is going to come down to having an engaged page. Who's actually talking to them? I'm not a big fan of the engagement work, but are you putting content on there that people are talking to? The other thing is, remember that your page is suddenly going to become... I love on my own personal timeline. I heard Richard Cho talking about timeline first time and installed it for myself. I love being able to go back and look at milestones and past events and
Absolutely.
say, you know what, that was I can go back and say that's what I wrote when I came to TNL in Dallas the first time. That's what I wrote. Right. These were my thoughts. This is what I put on Facebook. And I think that, again, what you're going to find is people interested in you as an employer or a recruitment business are going to be going back through your timeline and looking at what content you pressed. And much more than ever, content's going to live forever. So I'm really excited about that. I think it's going to make a big difference. I think they look extra sexy, if you can say that about a page, because of the graphics.
They do, and just because of what you're saying, if you actually publish a newsletter, for instance, this is a great place to post it now, because you're going to have your timeline of your newsletter as far down the page as any viewer wants to go. It's a great place to have a great historical record.
I think the other final point I'd close on is turning the fan pages into exactly the same layout, look and feel as your personal user accounts is a big statement, because it's creating an environment that we're all used to in the way that we're using it. And I think this is going to be the real real tipping point for Facebook. So I'm really excited about that.
Yep.
So sort your page out. If you need any help with that, at Fish Dogs will be pleased to help you. But
At Bill Boorman.
we'll also be pleased to help you. But it's time to sort out timeline. Thanks, everybody.
Cheers.